open like 30% of the businesses.
Okay, we're gonna go on to, we're on live Facebook right now. So watch what you say. I want to see that it's working. Give me a second. Yeah, we're live on Facebook. Very good. Don't look it on Facebook if you're on Zoom, because Facebook is like a 20-second or 30-second delay.
Okay.
It's gonna drive you up this some sugar.
Thank you for doing it on Zoom also, Rabbi.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time we're doing this. I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes so more people will come on. And the chazan went away. As usual, we're always looking for the chazan. When it comes time for him to do his job, he's not around. So funny, here he is. He's back. He's back in business. Okay, so what we want to do is we're gonna start in a minute. I'm gonna mute everybody. So from the circle, you don't want anybody to bother Chuni, God forbid, as he serenades us in the beautiful song. The truth is, I wanted people to sing with us. So
that's a good reason to mute us.
Really?
So
that's a good reason to mute us.
To mute us.
Rabbi, why didn't you mute Stuart last night? I needed that.
I might better see through them.
What's up?
What's up, baby?
Hello?
So what we're gonna do is Chuni's gonna daven.
What's the matter?
You know, the davening of Friday night
No.
is if you have a siddur, a Lubavitcher siddur, we're gonna do the prayers. This is a pre-Shabbos. It's on page 154. We're gonna do. I'm gonna get you all quiet right now. I won't be able to control this. Okay, I'm gonna mute everybody, so we won't bother anybody. Okay, now we got everybody quiet. I'm gonna unmute the Chuni. Chuni, you have no mute on you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our pre-Shabbos come together with song and with some words of Torah. And like we do it in the show, first Chuni does his song, and then I put you to sleep with my Dvar Torah. So we're gonna ask Chuni to daven with us. We start on page 154 in the siddur. He's gonna daven with us, and after his davening, I'll just try to give you a couple of words for the Shabbos and connected to the portion of the week. So with that, I want to thank Chuni for doing this, and I hope that it's going to be such a hit that next week, if we're not going to be in shul, we're going to have here even triple the amount of people. Correct, Chuni? Okay, Chuni, it's all yours. I turn it over to the Chaz. I'm going to mute myself. It's all yours.
Feel free to join in, even if we can't hear you, just feel free to sing along. So start page 154. Is mirois gloria loi ki ele godoi ladoi loi umelech godoi alekol eloi asher biyovodoi Mechkere Ores, Vesoya Foes, Horim Eloi, Asher Eloi Ayom, Oso Yabesh Yo sorrow, boy, nichro nivrecho lifnei Adonai oesenu ki hu Eloheinu anachnu am marisoy soy ne yodoy hayoim mekoyro esishmo al takshu levavechem kim levo kemasoba midebor asher nisuni avoesechem v'chononi kamroni lo yareboim shono kod betoy reboy mara betoy reboy behem lo yodudelo asher nishpaiti v'yavi im yevoyu nevenu choshi shiro ladinoi shiro ladinoi kol haaretz shiro ladinoi baruch hu shemai astro meyoim leyem shuvosai sabro vagoyim kevoidoi bechol oamim nefreyoiso ki godoy Adonai molal meyoy noy nahu al kol Elohim ki kol Elohei amim elilim v'Adonai shomayim oso hoy vador lefono hoy v'ziferes b'mikdoshoy Avol Adonai mishpuchai samim avol Adonai kavod voice Avol Adonai kavod shemoy shomin chovayolech asroiso vishtavol Adonai be'atras kodesh chilomi ponau kol haaretz imru v'goyim Adonai mono Avtikoy netevel bahal shimoy Yodin amim v'merishonim Yisbuchu hashmayim v'sogel oretz Yiramayom umloyoy Yalo el sodai v'chol asher boy Yoel ziralno kol asher yuvar Lifnei Adonai ki yivo lishpoy tovoretz yishpoy tevel b'tzedek Temonosoy. Adonai malach togoretz yishbim rabonu.
Yes, thanks.
Oyavi Adonai sinaro shoymen arshoes nasigo miyad reshoy miatzilem oere zor velat tzadik ule yisrael vesimecho simchu tzadiki badvenoi veoedo lezecher kodshoy Shiro ladoino esher chodos kin niflo eso shilo yamino uzro yakodeshoy vovo vedia admi yeshuo selene yagoyim kilos goso so kharkhastoy vemonosoy leveveshi yesro elero Kolafse yodet Yeshua, Eloheinu, Ariolano, Kolores, Beizvu, Beranano, Bezaveno, Zamero Ladu, Benoi, Everybody,
Unmute everybody. Everybody. That's beautiful.
How do you use page 156?
Let's go with the next song.
Moshe ve'Aaron bechoyanu,
Facebook.
u'shemo v'ovele bekoyrei shemoy, koyrei meladoynoi, ve'oyane, ve'amoydoylon, yedaber aleim, shomeru edo v'voeso, ve'choeg nosan elomoy, Adonai Eloheinu, ato ani yisom, enoi seo yisolohem, venoi keim alali loesom. Nada roem memorino Eloheinu, v'ishtakavu v'oleom kochoy, ki kodosh Adonai Eloheinu, mizmai leDavid, Ogola Adonai bnei Eli,
Page 157. I'm going to sing L'Chadodi. And unmute everybody.
I think he's been going on these people's face.
Kalo, Pene Shabbos, Nekablo, Oy Vesholoim, Ateres Palo, Camberino Vetsolo, Toi Chemone Am Seguelo, Boy Chala, Lechadodi Likraskalo, Pene Shabbos Nekablo. La da 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 da.
Come on, man, you're supposed to. Here's Kennedy.
Everybody sing along in your homes.
Are we over?
Miss Moishe, my Shabbos. Oy tzadikatom yifroch, yeres balevo, mono nitzkesh, solim, veisadne mechat, v'selo yeinu yaferivo. Oy dinu beseivo, desheini menanim yiyu, le'yagid ki osheradon yishli v'le'yavlo sabo. Mikoilo ismai, mayim rababi, madire, mishpere yom. Adir bamoroim, adir bamoroim, adir bamoroim, Adir bamoroim, adir bamoroim, adir bamoroim, adoin, edu isve kolem nemeyo eleveis kono abokuedes, adoin eleo boedel yomim, gavno din yachne. Noi vekawal shuletu oneiruik zinu morei dedi no kolo arkin sabo volumino volei shuletu no aferuvo vekolo Yane poni mirelo tras sat abbiamo cadito con sat mi risposi in cadoatim che deve in cielo so di cielo e sole varcala becherebu benero de anepe
Shikaya Khani. Shikaya, let's give a hand. Lay, 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 lay.
Make it visible?
Come on.
Wow, beautiful.
Come on, you don't get into the spirit of Shabbat. That's why. You Shabbat. What?
Okay,
Thank
everybody, I'm
you,
gonna meet you all
funny,
for a minute.
inspirational.
I'm gonna meet you all for a minute, and then I'm gonna mute you all. Okay, good night, Shabbos. I just want to say a couple of words to you before we go into the Shabbos in another half an hour, 40 minutes. I want to thank Choni for doing this. It's not easy to be a chazan, and even harder to be a chazan on Zoom. So Gracie Ashkaya Choni and Mitchem will do it. If we won't be in shul next week, we'll do it again next week. And then Mitchem will all hear you in shul. I want to wish you all a good Shabbos. I want to. It's truly fascinating. The Alter Rebbe said that a Jew should live with the times, and he meant when he said that you should live with the portion of the week. And it's truly fascinating that this week the portions actually as a double portion. We were saved a little bit from hearing two portions this week, Tazria and Mitzayda, which is a big laning. Menashe was saved this week from reading two portions as one. And it all talks about the concept of a Mitzayda, which is a leper, somebody who receives leprosy. And it's truly fascinating because actually this law of leprosy is something that only happened the truth is actually it's brought down and there was never a leper in the Torah. There was never the concept of leprosy, a Torah leprosy, that a Kohen evaluated it and he sent the person out. There was never such a thing in history. Never happened in history, leprosy in the Torah. There was leprosy. Moses became a leper and Miriam became a leper. And we have the story in the Haftorah this week, which is the 4 lepers that were out of Yerushalayim, but they never went through the leprosy of the Torah, where a Kohen told them they're a leper and they had to go out and become impure. There was no such thing. That never happened in history. But we give away 2 portions of the law of leprosy to something that maybe never happened in history. We give away the law of Shabbos, which we're going to do in the next 25 hours. We give away 1 verse. 1 verse says in the 10 Commandments, 1 verse, keep the Shabbos holy. And with that verse, we have hundreds of laws. When it comes to the law of leprosy, we have 2 full portions. But it's even more fascinating because actually we find an unbelievable statement in the Gemara. In the Gemara Sanhedrin, the Gemara says as follows. The Gemara asks a question, Ma Shemoi Shel Mashiach, what's the name of Messiah? The Gemara asks the question, what's his name? So the Gemara says that the Rabbanan Amri, the sages say, Chiyura devei Rebbe Shemoi, which means Mitzayda shel beis Rebbe, that Mashiach was called a leper. He was called a Mitzayda. Can you imagine? Out of all the names that we know that Mashiach has, he's called a leper. He was called a person who had leprosy. Why would the sages say that Mashiach was a Mitzayda, was a leper? Leprosy in the Torah would sound like something negative. What do we do to a leper? A person that, God forbid, has leprosy. We put him in seclusion. He's like in a way, we are all have spiritual leprosy. We are all at home. We're already 5 weeks at home. In the Torah, you're only 1 week at home, the most 2 weeks at home. But that's the quarantine. They took a leper, they took a Mitzayda, and they put him, they had told him he had to become quarantined. Exactly what we're doing today. And what do we call? We call Mashiach a leper. So how do you put the 2 together? How do you put the concept of seemingly a negative thing, that a Metzora, a person who had leprosy, had to be separated from the community, had to be locked away. And he was called Tameh, he was called impure, and the Messiah is called a leper. So therefore the Rebbe says something beautiful, based on a beautiful discourse of the Alter Rebbe, the first Lubavitcher Rebbe. And the Alter Rebbe says that leprosy Never happened. So why do we have the law of leprosy? Because leprosy comes to teach us an unbelievable concept. Leprosy mitzvah comes to teach us an unbelievable concept. And that is that the truth is that the concept of leprosy comes from a very high level in the spiritual world. It's called such a concept of sweetness in the upper worlds, such an aspect of chesed in the upper worlds, that when it comes to the world, the physical world, he becomes a leper. It becomes gevura. It becomes a little severity. And the Alter Rebbe says on this we can learn that when something negative happens in the world, it actually is higher levels of kindness. It's very deep level of chassidus in Kabbalah. That in everything, nothing negative comes from above. And therefore, if we see something that is not totally complete, it's not the person is seemingly a negative entity, but he should really know that behind it, behind everything, even the concept of severity in the world has behind it maybe a very deep concept of chesed, a very deep concept of chasadim. The Gemara tells a story about a sage. Rabbi came to met Eliyahu Navi. This sage, I forgot his name at this moment. I think it was Rabbi Yehuda. Met Rabbi Eliyahu Navi, and he asked him when Mashiach is coming. When is the Messiah coming? So he told him, Elijah told him, go and ask Messiah. Go and ask Mashiach. So he said, where can I meet him? He said, go to the outskirts of Yerushalayim, and you're going to meet there a group of poor people sitting at the gates of Jerusalem. And they're all going to have bandages on them. They're going to be lepers. And you're going to see this one man taking off his bandages and putting it back on and taking it off and putting it back on. And that's the one who's Mashiach. And the Gemara says the sage went to the gates of Jerusalem, and he met this Jew, and he said, Mashiach, you're Mashiach. And the guy said, oh, okay. How'd you know? He said, Elijah the prophet. Elijah told me you're Mashiach. He said, okay, what can I do for you? He says, I want to ask you a question. When are you coming? And the Mashiach answered, Hayoim, I'm coming today. So the sage ran back home. He packed up his house, and he was ready for Mashiach to come. And it didn't happen. So in a day or two, he met Elijah, the prophet, again. And he said, Elijah, Mashiach lied to me. That's Mashiach. Mashiach would lie to me. So the Gemara says, Elijah, the prophet, said, no, he didn't lie to you. He said a verse. Hayoim, the verse says, Hayoim, I'm going to come today in Bekolos Tishmayu. If you will hear hearken to my voice. God says, I'm ready to bring Mashiach today if you would hear to the voice of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We would hear to the voice of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sometimes we're too busy to hear to the voice of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Therefore, sometimes the Eibishter, God, in his ultimate kindness, brings about a concept where a person has to separate himself. He has to quarantine himself. And now he has, Baruch Hashem, time to think a little bit. He can listen a little bit. Right? Until today, when you call the Jew, you say, where are you? I'm too busy. I have a very big schedule. Rabbi, I can't fit you into the schedule. I'm too busy. So the Eibishter said, you know what? I'm going to show my kindness. Baruch Hashem, everybody should be well. Everybody should be healthy. I'm just going to give them some time. I'm going to give everybody some time. I'm going to give everybody the capability to think a moment, to realize what is true life. What is the purpose of life? And that's the beauty, in a way. We have to look at this concept maybe in a beautiful way. That God forbid, God does the concept of punishment for the aspect of anger or revenge, or who knows what the reason is. I believe it's the total different concept. And I believe that the Parsha of this week teaches us this lesson. The Torah gives away 150 verses to the law of Mitzvah to tell us that you're going to feel a little bit quarantined. You're going to feel a little bit separated. You're not going to be able to be with your friends. You're not going to be able to sit and talk Lashon Hara in Shul because you're going to be sitting at home. and you're not going to be able to daven together. But you know what? This is the greatest chasadim. This is the greatest kindness I'm going to show you. Because this is going to prove to you that what is true, the concept of life, what is true importance in life, what is true concept in what God wanted we should have in life. There was a beautiful story that was told by Rabbi Weinberg, who was not Lubavitcher Chassid. He said the story himself, and he said he once in the early 70s, he was a young man, he was a 40-year-old man. He's a rabbi in Baltimore, and he called the Rebbe. He called the Rebbe's office. He didn't want to say his name, and the secretary answered his phone. And the secretary said, "What can I do for you?" He says, "I need to ask the Rebbe a question." What's the question? Question is, I'm in a dilemma in life. I'm going through certain things in life, and I need to talk to the Rebbe. So the secretary said, you have to make an appointment. Come, give me your name, and I will make an appointment for you. He said, "No, I don't want to give him my name. I'm not a Lubavitcher Chassid. I don't want to give you my name. Just go into the Rebbe, tell him there's a Jew in Baltimore who needs to talk to him on the phone." So the secretary said, okay. He went he picked up the phone to the Rebbe. He told him, and the guy's listening. He says to the Rebbe, "There's a Jew in Baltimore who wants to talk to you." So the Rebbe said to the secretary, "Tell the guy that there's a great rabbi in Baltimore, since he's from Baltimore, and there's a great rabbi. His name is Rabbi Yonah Weinberg. He's still alive, Rabbi Yonah Weinberg. Alichasam for many happy and healthy years. Tell him that he should talk to Rabbi Yonah Weinberg." Rabbi Yonah Weinberg, he's saying the story. He says, "What?" He said, he didn't want to say it. He said, "Repeat what the Rebbe said." So the secretary said, "I don't know." The Rebbe said, you're calling up from Baltimore. You should talk to Rabbi Yonah Weinberg." So he says, "I'm Rabbi Yonah Weinberg." I am Rabbi Yonah Weinberg. So you heard the Rebbe say from the background, he said, "You know what? Sometimes it's good to talk to yourself. Sometimes when you go in a dilemma, we always think we need to find out how to overcome our issues someplace else. We need to find it by some great rabbi or some shul or somebody else. No. Here the Torah teaches a Torah, the beauty and the chesed of the law of a mitzvah, of a leper, teaches us that, you know what? The answer lies within ourselves. Within ourselves, we can find all the strengths and all the answers to all the dilemmas that we come in life. Because the truth is that we go to somebody else, what the person is going to tell you what you need. You knew yourself. You just need somebody else to tell you what you knew yourself. So this gives us time. It's so unbelievable that we're reading this portion, two portions together in these weeks, when we're all a little bit like a Matzorah, a little bit. We're all quarantined. We're all at home by ourselves or with our immediate families. And we're talking to our immediate families. And that's what the Eibishter says. Don't look at it as a terrible thing. Look at it as a blessing. Because ultimately, that is what counts. Ultimately, that is what's the most important thing. And ultimately, there, you're going to find holiness. And in yourself, you're going to find godliness. And in yourself, you're going to find all your answers that you need. Talk to yourself and have time to do that. Talk to me. And that's why Shabbos, it comes the day of Shabbos, we're coming into Shabbos. You need to daven. This was the Chuni just inspired you to, in the next half an hour, take out a siddur and daven, say the evening services, and tomorrow in the morning, learn and daven again. And daven, have a prayer, and let us all pray between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, private prayer. This is all a private prayer, and it's beautiful. Do we want it? No, but it's beautiful. It's truly beautiful. We cannot look at everything in a negative way. In a negative way, even though it's challenging, we want it, we don't want it this way, but you have to. I believe what the Torah wants to teach us in this week's portion, and the Torah talks so much about it, because we all deal with this issue where we all feel by ourselves, some of us through our troubles, we feel alone. We feel that, oh, nobody understands us. Nobody comprehends us. People don't understand my personal pain and suffering that I have. And it's all true. Did I lose everybody? And it's all true. That's true. But you're never alone. The Matzorah teaches us you're never alone because you have yourself. You have your godly soul. You have HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You have the Eibishter who's always with you, with each and every one of us. And he gives us all the koiches, he gives us all the strength that we have, that we need. So I hope that today and tomorrow, Zois Chodesh Iyar, it's the new month, the month of Iyar, which we all know, the sages tell us that Iyar stands for Ani Hashem Reifecha. I am God. Aleph, the Iyar has 4 letters, Aleph, Yud, Yud, Reish. Aleph stands for Ani, I. Yud, Yud stands for God. And Reish stands for healing. Ani Hashem Reifecha. We are all to turn to the Eibishter, to God this Shabbos, and say, make it a new beginning, a chodosh, a new month, a new beginning to our existence, and let us turn to the Eibishter and ask the Eibishter to heal the world, to heal all those that are sick, and to heal the world entirely, and to bring about an aspect of redemption to the world that we are all searching. But first, we're going to start with ourselves. We each one going to start with our own gullus, own exile, own tzaddis, own tzad and pain that we all, each and every one of us go through on a private level. So I hope and I pray that you all have a beautiful Shabbos, a wonderful Shabbos. I want to thank Chuni again, and God should bless him for the whole year that he sings in the shul and inspires us and uplifts us. And the Eibush should give him that El Mitzvah do it again, and it'll be a kohen in the Beis Hamikdash. It'll be one of the ones who sing and serve in the Beis Hamikdash. And let us hope and pray that it'll be a great new month, a happy new month, a wonderful Shabbos. Let us get together again tomorrow night, a half an hour after Shabbos is over. We'll do Havdalah together. Maybe Chuni can sing Havdalah. Chuni, what do you think? You'll do the Havdalah for us?
Tomorrow.
You'll do the Havdalah for us?
Pressure.
That's my job. I put people under pressure.
Pressure, honey.
I put people under pressure. So everybody tomorrow night
How many people are watching?
is gonna sing for us a special Havdalah service. It's
Awesome.
gonna be an inspiring Havdalah service, and I'll tell you a beautiful story, a Matzah Shabbos story. God bless you all. Have a beautiful Shabbos. Love you guys. They love you.
so much, Rabbi Bucket.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Amen, amen, amen.
Amen.
Good Shabbos.
Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Shabbos. Stick your hands up. We got it. Robert, good Shabbos. Robert.
What? Shabbos. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Chani.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Rabbi.
Shabbos,
Wonderful.
Shabbos.
God bless you all. Have a beautiful Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.